time to put down your rod and pick up your headphones. Join JC and Andy from Ebb Tide Tackle for The Outflow, the podcast talking all things lure fishing with hardcore fishers from all over the world.
Welcome to The Outflow. It's a podcast of John and I at Ebb Tide Tackle. My name's Andy Smith. We've got JC's with us today.
I'm here.
He's here. So, yeah, bit of a new venture for us. And stay tuned, listen in, and follow us along. We'll be covering anything and everything related to fishing, the crew we fish with, what we do, how we do it, and quite open to ideas from anyone and everyone. So input's always good.
We want to hear from you. If you think you've got an idea or a topic we should cover or someone we should talk to, let us know.
Yeah, if we don't know, we won't make it up. We'll ask someone that does know.
That won't stop us making it up.
No, that's true. A couple of beers in, who knows what can happen.
Who knows?
All good. So, locally, worldwide, there's a bit going on, Johnny.
Yeah, there's very uncertain times we live in right now. Unprecedented, I'd say.
Definitely.
COVID-19 is here and we're just in that point of changing into lockdown. I think we're on the verge of it. It's the 16th of March today. And we see there's obviously a lot going on in everyone's lives, but topical to this show, fishing trips getting disrupted left, right and centre.
Yeah, for sure. So there's been some obviously worldwide cancelled that we know about. A lot of people also, I guess, in limbo with upcoming trips. I know yourself and Lids were looking to head to Oman again in 5-6 weeks, and it's kind of wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's seeming more and more unlikely, I think, every day, but we're in a scenario today where visas to Oman are closed. They're not taking them. They've put a 30-day exclusion in. When that lifts, I think we have 4 days to get a visa and organise flights, and I guess that sounds like it's possible, but you can see it getting extended. And Australia's also put in the 14 days self-isolation rule in effect from Monday. So that probably puts a line through it. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it makes it hard when you, even if you come back and then you've got to take another 2 weeks off, life as you know it to self-isolate.
Yeah, I don't see that flowing personally. So I think we're going to see a lot of disruption. A lot of people are going to feel some hurt in the industry. In particularly, though, I think the charter operators that rely on tourism, rely on people coming in. It's going to be a really tough time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and worldwide, as you said, it's not isolated to one area now. It's here. Hopefully, it can run its course quickly, and onwards we move.
Let's hope. Like this is even like our closest neighbour, New Zealand. This is the traditional big kingfish season in China and Cova Rose. They do all their Three Kings trips and
all the banks
and it won't be happening. It's just put a line through it for at least a month.
Yeah, that's it.
Huge. Just as well, we've got some good fishing at home here in Victoria right now, Andy.
Some epic local fishing, isn't there? It's sensational.
Well, it's just as well because we need it. But we do. It's been off tap. The local bluefin tuna run is what we want to have a chat about today. And no doubt it was going on a good month before this, I think, and kept pretty hush.
Yeah, for sure.
But Australia Day was when it kind of all blew open.
Yeah, in a big way. It was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely
it was
huge.
Like this run of inshore tuna has been a thing for 3 or 4 years at least now, and I suggest a lot longer than that. But it's a matter of anglers cluing in and being out there at the right times to see these things. But what we've seen this year with this summer run, I think, is off charts.
Oh, for sure. Just the length of time that these fish have hung around, as you said, from a Strait Day this year. And I remember we just got back from Cairns fishing with Jason Legg on Topwater Sport Fishing, and it was literally turn the phone back on at the airport, open Facebook, and it was just literally Melbourne tuna and Central Bass Strait tuna all over it. Normally, you get your West Coast, Portland, Port Fairy, Warrnambool run, and this was all just close to home, and guys getting cricket score numbers of tuna over a weekend. It was phenomenal.
Aaron Dillon, a good mate of ours, with a couple of guys that he was fishing with, Dylan Pace, I think he was with, Daniel Zeri. They knocked over conservatively 150 fish, catch and
Astounding.
release
That's
over
crazy.
a weekend.
It's crazy.
That's, that's the kind of fishing you go to Panama for.
Yeah, massive numbers.
But maybe the size isn't quite there, but they were still good fish. There's without a doubt been genuine 30s, heaps of 20s. You get a lot of ridiculous calls sometimes about fish size, but we've seen some crackers.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Richie Abella the other day caught one that I don't know if he put it over the scales, but it looked 40.
Yeah,
40 or
it
better.
was. I was chatting to him about it the other day, and he was calling it low to mid 40s, so 45, that kind of range, and that was that was a big fish, and there's been a few of that sort of size caught. Seen some bigger fish in there, some solid fish in schools and stuff, smashing up bait balls and herding up bait, but until it's on the deck, you can't really tell how big they are.
There's been a few people spooled. I think Taylor Hunt got spooled, didn't he? Early on.
Could be Nana Drag.
Could be a
You
few
wouldn't
other
know.
factors.
We'll have to ask Taylor on that.
Yeah.
Hope he's listening.
I will draw his attention to
Yeah,
it, no
that's
doubt.
it.
But he wasn't the only one. I think Magnet Jason Ferrugia was on a fish for nearly 2 hours, weren't they? On 15 kilo
on
tackle.
15. Yeah, saw it a couple of times. I think they called that 60 to 80, that sort of range. So,
Yeah.
solid fish.
Really solid fish. Interesting, when we first got onto these fish, our breakout day on it was Australia Day. We went out the heads and went down to Apollo Bay, Aries Inlet Way, and found just so many fish.
Yeah, and it's fish right through.
We found, exactly. You didn't have to go that far, but that's where we went to, and we found them that day. There was one period where we were driving over a continual school of fish for 1.5 kilometres.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was hookups the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's madness. History showing, though, over the last few years, that this period, late January through February, is the time these fish show up. It's become predictable.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly is. Well, you got that one when you're out solo. Is that last year or 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. But last year I got a couple of fish as well out the front of Western Port. So that's been, for me personally, 3 years in a row local. And then I think go back a year before that, say 4 years from now, Port Fairy, where we're getting them over summer. That's no secret, the Portland, Port Fairy kind of southwest run. But we're seeing a Central Vic Bass Strait bite every summer that's become, I don't want to make it, jinx us and call it the norm, but it's become predictable to go and look for them, hasn't it?
It is. And this year's, even better. It's extraordinary, the numbers and the time these fish have hung through. So,
well, this year stands out in terms of how long they've been here and the sheer vast biomass of them. There's a ridiculous number of fish here right now.
It's not one school. It's literally schools of fish that stretch the entire coastline, Cape Shank to Cape Otway, basically. There's been fish.
Yeah, and they're still getting fish at Portland.
Yeah, exactly right.
Over the border at Robe. And I haven't heard much from Port Mac, but certainly well into South Australia. They've been, they're still coming, essentially. Or which way are they heading is another discussion, I guess. But
no, exactly right. Well, that's one that we've done a little bit with.
Well, yeah. We were really, really lucky to become tuna champions.
We are.
Which is a pretty cool thing to be involved in, to be recognised for, I guess, our approach to fishing. We're topwater guys for the most part. But we do hold a view of, if you can catch it and eat it fresh and look after it, do that. But anything more that exceeds your current needs, we're a big view of like chuck them back and just enjoy the sport of it.
Oh, for sure.
Which I guess those two sides of it, of let's keep a good quality feed and let's look after the stock, really hits in with that tuna champions ethos, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. Look after that one fish or two fish, whatever you take it, but do it well and do it properly.
Yeah. So it was really cool to team up with Sean Tracy and Richie Abella and do some sat tagging. I've never done it. Well, I have it with you in Oman on GTs, but right. You've got a lot more experience with this. Like, that was pretty cool.
Was very cool to head out and even see the way Richie does it and how he did process and look after that one fish that we took at the end of the day as well. That was great to see. But the approach Sean's using, he's done a lot of tuna and now broadbill swordfish research, sat tagging these fish and seeing where they go and how they move, and filling in a little piece in this puzzle. with these bluefin will be really interesting to see where they go. So
Yeah, so we got 2 tags in, and how long are they on for?
270 days.
270 days.
Yeah.
Can't wait for those to pop and see what these fish have been up to and where they've gone. Like, yeah, I'm going to hedge the popular bet that these fish are heading on their eastern migration. And, you know, whether they go through Central Bass Strait or do a U-turn down south around Tasmania. That's my bet.
Yeah.
I don't know what yours is.
Put your money up. Which way? Pick one.
Yeah, all right. If I had to bet right now, I reckon they're going through Central Bass Strait.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're going to push east.
Yep. Right
Yeah.
through. The
Yeah.
bulk of them.
Yeah, that's what I reckon.
Okay.
The time will tell. What do you reckon?
Opposite. I think they're going to push south and potentially, the vast majority of them anyway, push south a lot down the west coast of Tassie, but also potentially push wide, way south of Portland, Port Fairy, and maybe hang in the Southern Ocean aspect.
Yeah,
also.
okay. Back down towards the Bight, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So they might be, what you're suggesting is they're heading the other way.
Potentially, yeah, but
essentially
out
west.
wide, out deep,
Yeah.
I'd say.
It's going to be fascinating wherever they go, and I think it really highlights to a point how little we actually know.
For sure.
We think we do.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure. But that's going to be pretty cool to see that. We also filmed Richie processed tuna and chucked that up on our YouTube channel. It's probably not a video for everyone. It's a bit gory. It shows it in full detail, and that's why we did it.
Yeah, that's it. It shows for what it is.
Yeah, it is, and it's a bloody gory process.
Yeah.
But the eating quality was next level.
Yeah, it was astounding. Like, we've always looked after our fish and do the right thing, but taking the extra 1 or 2 steps that Richie does and, the Tuna Champions ethos of how to process these fish totally properly takes them from being excellent to just astounding, the eating quality of these fish.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to make that much of a difference. And I guess what did we do different? Well, from my perspective, I wasn't brain spiking or icky-jammying tuna. And I wasn't pithing them, like doing that spinal cord disruption.
Yeah.
I definitely bleed my fish. I definitely gut and gill, core them and put them on ice. But that's the other thing of actually putting them in an ice saltwater slurry as opposed to just ice contact. Sean demonstrated to us what a difference that makes to the core temperature of the tuna. There's a lot going on here, and it's best practice.
Yeah, 100% best practice. And at the end of the day, it does mean to do it properly. You take yourself out of the game fishing-wise for, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the difference in quality of the meat is astounding. It's worth every second.
And I think that's what people probably struggle to get their head around of, we've just got onto the bite and a couple have hit the deck. You need to now stop.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And deal with these 2 fish. And that's probably the thing to process and decide whether it's for you or not. Because if you want that quality, you're out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. But, you can still work together and do it, I guess. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I fished with Aaron Dillon offshore, and we had tuna on a full-blown bait ball. Like, the bait ball was hiding under the boat at one stage to get away from these fish.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was literally a fisher cast. First one we got in, we made the call. Yeah, we're going to keep this fish. Gaffed it, got it in the boat, and I said to Aaron, just keep fishing. You fish, I'll deal with the fish.
Yeah.
And I didn't fish again for probably another 25 minutes because I just processed that fish and got it done right. Aaron stopped. We got a couple of pictures, a couple of snaps and stuff along the way. But at the end of the day, you always do that.
Yeah, you do.
It's worth it.
So worth it.
Yeah.
And in terms of, like, we're saying, it was so much better. What do we mean by that? The thing that I really noticed was in taking the skin off and loining the tuna a day or 2 later, there was no blood in the bag. Like, often you'll find that you pull your tuna out of the bag that you've had it sitting in the fridge in or whatever, and there's a significant amount of blood in that bag that's just leached out of the fish.
Leached through, yeah.
There was none. There was virtually none.
It's gone. There's no blood in the fish.
Yeah, and it's actually a different colour. It's a pale pink.
Yep.
as opposed to that real redness that you get especially in the top loin of the tuna. I also noticed it didn't smell fishy.
No, not at all. No.
A lot less fishy.
Yeah, and even keeping it in the fridge for days after. Like, I've kept our fish for 6 days, kind of thing, in the fridge, and you pull them out, and they still smell like that fresh salt water, ocean type smell.
Even I don't know if I was fooling myself with this, but before I ripped the skin off, I was noticing to myself how blue and vivid the skin still even looked.
Yeah.
It looked fresh.
Yeah.
It looked like it had just been killed.
Yep.
Coincidence or not, I don't know. But I really encourage everyone to give it a go. And what it might do is also allow a few more to swim. If you're tied up doing this, you're probably only going to take a couple. You won't get in that scenario so much where there's 3 on the boat, we've killed 6, taken our limit. I think you'll find you won't do that as much.
No, for sure.
You'd be more inclined to let them swim. And on that subject, we've got a bit of an exciting project that's, by the time this podcast hits, will be a live thing.
Yeah, it should be. If not, it'll be extremely close. Be within days, I would say.
Yeah, it'll be pretty much, I think, hand in hand, and that's the Tuna Champions Jack Finn Ebb Tide Tackle collaboration.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool indeed. So with the Pelagus 165 in the sinking model, and that's been a consistent standout lure on the bluefin. They certainly love it, and to be able to get together with the guys and put that together as a special, unique colour, and there's 2 colours on options.
Soury and red bait.
Yeah, that's it. Which are brilliant in their own right, but to have them labelled up with the Tuna Champions guys, and to have, I guess, the extent of using them and fish with them the way we do, and throw it out to the public. So,
and the unique offering with the Crafter single barbless hook.
Yeah, that's it.
The Tuna Champions Challenge. Can you catch a bluefin on top water with a barbless hook?
That's it. Exactly right.
Yes, you can.
Certainly can.
We've been fishing barbless heaps, and we've been fishing one hook when we've gone down to, we're fishing for fun here. We're catch and release. It makes a huge difference to bluefin if you can fish barbless. They fight pretty hard. They're prone to damaging themselves. If you can get that hook out quick, especially in the water, they're going to survive.
Yeah, exactly right.
Really high survival rate, I reckon.
Yeah.
If you're having to get them in the boat and work out how to extract trebles or, multiple single hooks from them with barbs, every second their survival chances is going downhill.
Yeah, that's it. Even with best practice, looking after the fish, if you can, keep the ultimate way is leave the fish in the water, a hook out gun or similar, and get that hook and literally just roll it backwards. Those fish come out, and it's not really, I wouldn't say there's a noticeable difference in landing rate, barbless versus barbed. I don't think it makes a difference. Keep your rod loaded, keep that line tight, and they don't really have a chance to throw it on you.
It's a simple problem to solve. Keep the line tight.
Yeah, that's it.
If that rod's loaded, the chances of that hook coming out, like we've fished barbless for years. GT fishing is largely barbless hook fishing. And I think for the most part, the fact that it's a barbless hook we're using has had nothing to do with the fish we've dropped.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
If anything, the hook goes in a tad easier. It's an experiment you can do yourself. Get a piece of paper or get a piece of cardboard, push a hook through that's barbless, and then do it with a barbed hook. And you'll see how much more pressure you've got to apply to get past that barb.
Exactly right. And it's got to cut a hole to get in. So,
it's got to cut a bigger hole.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, so that's an exciting project. And if you want to get yourself a Tuna Champions limited edition collaboration lure, they're on the website.
They are.
Get stuck into them.
Yep.
But the bite changed with these local fish. Like early on when we were getting onto them, whether it was down Lids and I had a day down at Portland. We had that day at Anglesea, and then it kind of moved a bit more local off Barwon Heads. The bite early was the fish were hungry.
Yeah.
They were jumping on.
Jumping on anything and everything too, wasn't it? Poppers, stick baits, sinking, floating, didn't matter.
It was almost like, what can I catch one on now?
Yeah, that's it. I know Aaron and Daniel Zeri and Brad that were with him as well. They had it one
Brad
day.
Spiden, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Brad. So They had a day where they just took all the hooks off their lures.
Yeah.
They just literally got sick of catching tuna on topwater in Victoria.
But loved watching them eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's the ultimate problem that we have.
It's a good
I got
problem
sick
to have,
of catching
isn't it?
too many tuna on topwater.
Yeah, so I took
Yeah.
the hooks
Sign
off
me
just
up.
to watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good problem. But we did notice that I don't know where the correlation happened, but somewhere the fish found bait. They weren't coming down with the bait. It was almost like the bait was stacked up out the front here from Barwon Heads right through Cape Shank and beyond.
Yeah, there was that small bit of bait down around Anglesea and stuff, but it was really small and very sparse.
Yeah,
It
there wasn't a lot,
anything
was there?
that you'd say would hold the fish there.
Well, every fish we kept down there had nothing in its gut.
Yeah, whether they're vomiting that up during fight
Yeah.
or something, who knows?
Always possible.
But there was a dramatic number compared to the typical fish, Portland, Port Fairy, and that kind of thing. If they've been feeding, you find that food in their stomach.
Yeah, generally speaking, for
Yeah.
sure. But we found these fish out the front. They are, well, you still get at those days where they're mooching and sunning and just rolling on the surface, but we've seen a lot more, especially leading up to tide changes, where they're feeding.
Yeah,
And they've been feeding on, whether it's white bait or anchovies, but small.
yeah.
And they've been...
Except one day. I would
Yeah,
say.
well, you and
Yeah.
Aaron found fish on a bait ball, which was red bait or pilchards.
Pillies, yeah, and they were big pillies. Hadn't seen any like it.
That's
around.
been the exception,
Yeah,
though, I reckon.
for sure. Yeah,
Most people are reporting, tuna on really, really small bait and struggling to get a bite.
yeah, like 80, 90 mil long bait kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
really small anchovies and that kind of thing. And
It's been, I'll admit straight up, it completely changes the game when you've got fish that ignore what you're throwing at them and they're moving so fast. Like, they're not herding bait up, in my opinion. They're hammering through schools of bait.
yeah,
and
just pushing through it and keep moving.
they keep moving.
Yeah.
And we've seen schools that, by tracking the turns, that go for like kilometres
Yeah,
of
exactly
working in
right.
a line, generally speaking into the wind. And they just go and go and go.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's the thing with a lot of guys is they'll try and get ahead of these fish, but you're actually, by the time they position the boat and that kind of thing, you're behind them. You've missed them.
Yeah.
So whether you're trolling or casting or whatever, you want to get it well out ahead of them.
Trolling, because you've already got those lures in the water, I don't know how you get ahead of them.
Yeah.
I don't think you could move fast
No,
enough.
with the speed some of those fish have been going.
Yeah.
You'd struggle.
We've, because we cast, it's very easy for us to go, right, last cast, get your lines in, and we hammer down
Yeah, exactly.
and position ourselves ahead of the predicted, line that the fish are pushing, and the turns give that away.
Yeah, exactly right.
And we're often finding we get say 200 metres ahead of the school and we get the angle right, you got about 3 casts and
Yep.
the fish are on you.
Yeah, they're on you, and then if you haven't hooked up, you can generally get a couple out behind the boat,
Yep.
into the drift and get at them from the other direction, which some days has been brilliant. You'll catch plenty doing that as well.
Yeah,
so.
and so all told, you might get half a dozen, 10 casts in by each positioning of the
Yep.
boat, and that I think has been the way we've probably scored most of our fish once it's gotten harder now.
Yeah, for sure.
Get ahead of the push that they're going. Yeah, often killing the motor. Often like there's no time for the electric during that.
No.
It's just like get the motor shut down because they are flighty.
Yeah, for sure.
They're very finicky, but turn the motor off, they'll still come under the boat.
Yep.
We mark them up as they come through and under, and like you said, we get a couple of casts out the backside, which oddly enough seems to be often where we hook up.
Yeah,
is
has
when
been, hasn't
when
it?
they've gone
Yep.
past us. I've noticed it like going back through the videos that we're casting as they come to us and we don't get a bite. They go under and past us, then we hook up.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's
Yeah.
happening a lot.
Yeah.
Then they're gone. You
Yeah,
see them
exactly.
disappear and
Reset and go again.
reset and go again. And
Get ahead of them and repeat.
yeah, watching the chart plotter at the end of the day, it's like it's really obvious. You can watch the almost like U shapes as we go around and get in front, and then they come past us and we reposition, and you can see the whole drift line, and generally speaking, it's into the wind.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much straight into the wind.
The
Yeah.
way that they work. I've definitely noticed, it's no great secret, but the chances of getting a hook up, getting a bite, have improved heaps on the tide changes.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's definitely been a way. It's like it's worth hanging out. It's worth
Yep.
timing your trip around. If you can get two tide changes in your day. Can't always choose when we fish, but it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. Look, you do have limitations at times. Things like looking for slack water through the heads if you're running through the rip. That's something that's probably the first thing you have to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can stay out through 2 of those cycles, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously Barwon heads and, coastal access opens up a whole nother can of worms for us.
It does, doesn't it? Like, we've gone out of Barwon heads quite a bit.
Yep.
We've gone through the rip a few times this summer, and it's always, I'd prefer to avoid it, to be honest, because I'd sooner not have to worry about what time the slack water is. It's a little bit restrictive.
Yeah, that's it.
But our boat's not massive, 19 foot, 5.8 meters. It's like we respect that piece of water, and we don't want to just come back mid-tide stream. So
it's no fun running through the middle of the ebb there.
No. Don't want to do that. But a lot of guys are probably getting to know the rip now by this tuna run. And a lot are getting to know Barwon heads too. And a lot more now are going out the western entrance of Western Port as well.
Sure. That's an option. It is a long run.
Yeah.
You've got some distance to cover, but it can be sloppy.
You got what? Yeah, it can be a horrible piece of water.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as treacherous as the rip, but
No,
but on its
definitely
day, it's not nice.
No.
The run of fish has been a little bit hard to access from the western entrance, but now it seems to be there's a fair few kicking out off the shank.
Yeah, that's it, down towards the shank and that kind of thing. And, worst case scenario, or best case scenario, you can, tuna don't play so you can go chase kings.
Yeah, true. Yeah, really, really true. And it's been a funny summer for kings. Not really the subject of this chat today, but been patchy. It's been, dare I say it at this point in time, a little bit of a letdown compared to the last 3 or 4 years. That each one seemed to get better. This one's been odd.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go back the last fortnight, there's been a few in the rip. But really, those typical reports you see from all over have been sparse.
Yeah. It's been a funny one too, because Eastern Victoria was off limits for a long time with the bushfire recovery.
Yeah, exactly right.
Conran only opened up a few weeks ago, and Malakuta, obviously the bars all silted up there too.
It's just can't get out.
Hasn't been a normal summer.
No.
That's for sure. But these fish currently, there's been, we talked about positioning your boat, getting ahead of the drift. The stick baiting game has probably been the go-to method. You're seeing a lot more guys casting, which warms our heart from 2 angles. We love topwater and we love seeing people do it, but it's also good because it draws them to ebb tide tackle and the gear that we specialise in selling. From Hoke tuna rods to the various tuna lures we sell. But we've seen a few lures this particular run that have stood out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I see it as 2 different angles there. One is match the hatch of trying to here's a lure that's the profile, size, speed, swim of the bait that they're eating, versus, because sometimes that won't work either. Sometimes it's just not quite right. Versus the whole other approach of let's get big, loud, and splashy and in their face.
Yeah, exactly.
What have been your favourites? What's been working for you?
Probably the Jackfin Lara. 135 mil, slim profile. It looks like an anchovy. Mm-hmm. There's only 3 colours. It doesn't really matter. I haven't found a huge difference in colour. But working that lure and, fast twitches, keep it moving really aggressively through the water like it's a fleeing bait fish. They cast like a bullet. They're about 55 grams, 135 mil long. But the beauty of that lure is they're a fairly fast sink. So you don't necessarily have to get them down deep, but they'll hold in. It might be windy and choppy, but you're still keeping your lure, in that top meter. Fish zone in and find it. Easy. No dramas at all.
Yeah.
And hookup rates are great with them because they don't muck around on it. No, 135 mil, they just slam it, suck it straight in.
And the Jackfin Pelagus 90's been key as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a 30-gram bait.
Yeah.
It casts well too. Probably got to cast it on slightly lighter gear, but it's probably up there in terms of matching those anchovies or whitebait, whatever they are. It's really similar to the profile.
Yeah, for sure. It's spot on. And with that lure, because obviously it's a bit lighter, dropping your leader size.
Yeah.
That's been crucial as well. That gets that can be the difference between no bites and fish.
Yeah, 100%. Like I've been fishing 40 pound leader on that, which, hardly what you want to fish. If you hook a big one, you might be in trouble. You can't put a lot of hurt on 40 pound leader on a big tuna, but it gets you the bite.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the difference when it's, it beats getting frustrated all day and not getting that bite at all. So the other side of it's been, that doesn't work always. Like we've put some casts in some days for not much action.
Yeah.
Not the only ones. On the flip side there, some lures that kind of aren't looking at all like what they're feeding on has been working. Floating stick baits, like bigger profile floating stick baits.
Yeah, big, bulky, like your Amagari, your lean. I got that good fish on
Yeah.
a Strait weekend. And
Yeah.
that was mid-30s, so down Anglesea, and that, big...
That was a lane 145, wasn't it?
145, so big swim, bulbous head, lots of action, lots of surface disturbance, and those fish that day, they weren't up. They weren't on the surface. They were hanging 10, 15 metres down.
Yep.
And we just kept working that area where we knew they were.
They kept coming up.
All the other trollers had gone, and the fish would pop up and go down. And
Yeah, I reckon one thing people that are getting into stick baiting really need to learn, there's this thing of, I bring out the casting tackle when they're busting up, when the birds are diving in. If you see tuna, if you know that there are tuna 15 metres down under your boat, they will come up in half a tail's beat and smash something off the surface.
Nothing. No problem at all.
Yeah, no problem at all. If you're giving them something that they want to eat, their willingness to rise to the surface is not an issue.
Yeah.
So don't get locked into this. I need to see them busting. It's just not required.
No.
And for us heading out, it's like a voyage of the brave almost. Me and you, or whoever might be with us, Kish or Aaron, whoever.
Lids. Don't forget your wife.
Don't forget
she does
my wife.
fish.
True. Sorry, I forgot about that. I'm going to pay for that later, I'm sure. You're literally taking a rod each.
Yep.
And you're heading off into the wild blue, and you are driving.
Yep.
Until you see either fish, because we've been seeing a lot of fish just straight up. There they are. Through disturbance on the water, or that the water's ruffling the wrong way.
The shimmery look of,
Yeah,
it's like there's a patch of wind that's not quite right there. And you're like, what's that? No, that's fish.
So many times it's been fish.
Don't drive through it, guys.
Or it's been that,
Cast
the
back.
trollers tend to just drive through it because they don't see it. I don't know what it is. Or it's dark, or there's something that gives away the presence of fish. Or the more traditional way of, there's birds.
Yeah.
Or, there's fish busting, whatever. Or we see them sounding. Sometimes we've been doing some big miles.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it's faith. It's faith that you'll find them, and it's faith that these methods will work. And it's been so rewarding.
Oh, exactly right. I think we've had one trip where we haven't got fish.
Yep, one trip, and we had chances.
Yeah, exactly right.
I've had a couple of days where I've had horrible hookup rates.
Yeah.
Getting half a dozen shots and hooking none, but that can happen. But we've generally been getting a shot at them, haven't we?
Oh, that's exactly right. And as you said, just cover that water. Find out your birds as well. Look at what your birds are. Know what a gannet is, what a tern is, what the mutton birds are, and there's a couple of different species, obviously, the mutton birds especially. And people dismiss them. Oh, mutton birds, they're useless. They don't show you anything. Well, they do. They just act differently, and you need to know what you're looking for. If they're
100%.
splashing and paddling on the water, and any bird that's sticking his head underneath is doing it for a reason. There's food there.
When we see mutton birds dipping their head in the water, looking down, we're excited, aren't we?
Yeah, it's as good as seeing a tern, and a tern equals tuna.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
For sure. Like you give me one tern that's dipping, fluttering its wings and dipping down near the surface, and it means one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's tuna under that,
and small bait.
Yeah, and small bait.
That's one thing as well to pay attention to. Look at your birds and look at what they eat.
Yeah,
Mutton birds will eat pretty much anything. We know that, but terns are generally on your smaller bait. So straight away, you've got an idea of what to present. If you want to go natural,
100%.
go to your smaller base lures. If you've got gannets, you're probably more likely that it's red bait or pillies or slimies or some of your bigger bait, so you can go, all right, let's go 160 to 200 mil kind of lures, because if you want to imitate that size, there you go.
Yeah,
half the battle's
we've
done.
noticed for sure that the gannets, they're not interested in the white bait.
No,
They keep flying,
keep
don't
going.
they?
Yeah,
Yeah. And heading out to sea when you're making that voyage out, and like we're having faith in topwater. Some days you go out there and it's a bit of a barren landscape, but you might see a couple of birds on the wing. They're just up higher and just flying in a direction.
Yeah.
Going in their direction has worked for us so many times.
Oh, countless. Yeah.
It might be 2 kilometers away, but they are going to something. If they're all going in a single direction, they do this for a living.
Yeah, that's it. They have 2 jobs: wake up and go eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And their senses and their eyes are way better. I don't know. It's almost like birds put out a radio call to each other the way they suddenly show up.
Get down here, Jimmy.
Yeah,
they're on. Go south.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. And we've had days where, even mates have been out the day before and given us GPS numbers of where the fish are. And you punch out to, you're near that general area, but you're watching these birds and, instead of going southwest, all these birds are going southeast. And you're like, well, why would you keep going southwest?
Yeah.
Follow the birds, because those tuna move so fast.
Yeah. Yesterday's numbers from a mate or where you got them, in the absence of anything else, is a great start.
Yeah.
But don't get locked into it.
No.
Don't get locked in. They can. The funny thing is they can move vast distances in 24 hours, or they can not move at all.
Yep, exactly right. And especially in this shallow water. We're fishing. We've had them in as shallow as 15 meters, but even out to 70, 73 meters of water. Those fish to move 40 meters to 70 meters of depth. Here, it's not a long way, really.
No, not for them. Not for tuna.
Not for tuna. They'll do it in a few hours if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The current run, how long is it going to last?
Don't know. A week ago, if you had asked me this, I would have said, I think it's winding up. But, we had a day where, off Barwon Heads was barren. Like, literally there wasn't a bird or anything. Nope. We found stuff down towards Cape Shank, but... and we were like, okay, these fish are slightly pushing east, so next trip let's focus our gearing and heading around going that way. And the next day, good mate's out and he bangs them that evening after work straight off Barwon Heads in 30, 40 metres of water. And he said, I turned my motor off. This was Taylor
Hunt,
yeah.
Again.
Turned my motor off and I literally just had tuna around my boat everywhere I could see. And you got them on poppers, you got them on stick baits, it didn't matter.
He got them eaten again properly.
Yeah, that's it. And he said there was so many tuna there. He goes, it's the most I've seen the entire summer. And you're like, okay.
And there's an interesting thing. Is it we're just rookies and couldn't find them? Or have more fish pushed down the coast?
Yeah, well,
who knows?
Know.
No one knows. But yeah.
Let's keep going until we don't see a thing.
Well, we know how many fish are west of us.
Oh,
they're still catching them in South Australia. Still catching them in southwest Victoria. There's a stack that way. We probably don't really have a good fix. I know they're catching them in Tassie at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it a case of you can go out and target Central Bass Strait tuna all year? I don't know.
Could be.
I feel like maybe there might be the odd barren time, but I feel like if you look hard enough, you'll find them.
Well, that's the last 5 years. That's what Victoria's turned into. Is near on 12 months a year tuna fishery. And, is it just, are they filling the gaps as this stock does recover? Are they just filling these gaps and moving closer?
And on that, about filling the gaps in the stock, we're seeing a lot of different size classes. We're now seeing some real small ones.
Yeah.
Last time out, it was our donut trip. We didn't get one, but we saw some fish jumping and they were small.
Yeah, they looked like 6 kilo type jobs.
Yeah, which has been the contrast to this summer. Has been like big fish. You know? Like we said at the start, 30 kilo fish have not been uncommon at all.
Yeah, exactly right.
So that's encouraging. Like for a few years here in Victoria, you either got that 15 kilo school fish or it was a barrel.
Yep.
There was nothing in
between. Yeah.
We're now actually starting to see good numbers of a variance in size, and that's so encouraging.
Yeah.
That's so encouraging.
That's great. Let alone, as you said, there's still fish west what's coming and will those fish move through. You know, Bodie had a great day there last week, or this week it was. It was a couple of days ago.
Portland, and that was literally between Portland Harbour and Lawrence Rock.
Yeah.
All those fish that he caught, like he was in the 20s.
Yeah.
The day he had him and his girlfriend or wife, I think, Jazz.
You get him in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure there, but it's definitely his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, they smashed it, and that's so cool to see. A guy and girl team firing at top water.
Yeah, that's it.
Smashing the fish. Like the scape of fishing in Victoria is changing, and that we've been speaking about this for years, you and I. But it's actually coming to fruition. We're seeing people 100%. Change and fish differently.
Yeah, totally differently. And it's not just saltwater. You know, it's not just people fishing topwater tuna. It extends into our native fisheries and stuff as well.
Yeah, it does. It's a very changing landscape, and it's an exciting one.
Yeah,
which is what this podcast is all about.
That's it. Get fishing. Get out there.
That's it. Get amongst it. So we'll wait and see with the results of this sat tagging. We'll keep you informed when that happens.
Yeah.
It's
we'll get Sean on and have a chat to him. And
we will.
He can explain all the science buff behind it.
That's a great idea. When the tags pop off and we get the data, there's a bit that has to happen, doesn't it? There with
Hope he says yes.
Oh, he'll say yes. We've got him over a barrel.
If not, bad luck.
But that's a pretty good follow up to this chat. We're pretty excited for the prospect of the bigger fish showing up. Probably, all the tuna lovers are.
Yeah.
But we've got our quest as a crew to get topwater barrel, and I don't know. Will this be the season where it happens? We don't know, but we'll be in there having a crack.
That's it.
And that's kind of the next big thing for us, I guess. It's been done. Richie did it. Really pleased that he did it. I didn't know Richie Abella much before this. You knew him from your previous time in the tackle shop, but great guy.
He is, and just lives, eats, breathes, just fishing.
Passion.
Yeah,
so much passion for it. And he loves seeing other people do well. Awesome to see him. He's tied on the jack fins and getting some results too.
Yeah, that's it. And he's basically applied, what we've been doing. Days are tough. Fish aren't playing the game. They're not up taking the dredges that have been so good for these charter guys and a lot of trollers in general. Not taking the normal divers, the skirts, everything else. So he's downsized the casting gear and gone lighter and gone smaller in lures. And it turned a potential donut day into a day of 5 or 6 tuna, I think.
Yeah.
A boatload of clients that are stoked and happy. So
probably doubly happy because, one fish on top water beats 10 on the troll.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll defy anyone once they've experienced it to say otherwise.
Yeah.
If you think, trolling's just as good, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait till you give it a go.
Yeah, exactly right. Subscribe to our podcast. That's a new thing.
Make
we've got
sure
to
you
throw
do
at
that.
everyone. Everyone subscribe, like, throw it out, recommend, share it on Facebook and
tell your
Insta
mum
and social media, and tell your mum's dog and get everyone listening. And feedback. We want to hear from everyone here, so we're not just talking to JC's couch every Sunday afternoon when we record a podcast. Be great.
Get into it, guys. Hope you love it.
Catch ya.
Thank you for listening to The Outflow by Ebb Tide Tackle. Subscribe to the podcast to listen to other episodes and stay up to date with new releases. And don't forget to rate and review.